Hi, DeAndrea.
Are you able to hear me? Am I coming through? Oh, my camera's not working.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get started. Um, were you able to view your client acquisition system yet?
Yes, I was.
And it looks like you might have made some edits. Did you already do your edit form?
And I didn't, it may have started, but I need to submit more. Like, I don't know why when I did it, I went back in because I didn't know the download. I think you sent me an email. Someone sent an email about,
Yeah, your download.
yeah, and I didn't, I don't see where does it go?
It
Now,
goes to
I did,
it
go
goes
ahead.
to your email. Sometimes, what kind of email do you got? Is it Gmail?
Mm-hmm.
You have to check your promotions. Sometimes it goes to promotion, sometimes it goes to junk mail, because it's your first time getting an email from them.
Okay.
But it goes to your email, then there's a link to download it.
Okay. Um, yeah, I had more edits. I think it pushed them through, but I didn't finish going through the sheet to say what edits I needed to make. Basically, I was just going back through because I just needed to speak in my voice. That's a generic, it's really a generic copy, just the way it sounds. I'm not an identity coach. I don't know where it got that from. Um,
Okay.
so I think it's just the pieces that it's pulling. It's not my authentic voice, and that's the only thing that I was trying to put inside the.
So what you're gonna have to do with that is, we're trying to see when they made your edits. Because with your $97 offer, we purchase your domain, host it, um, design your front end, set up your back end, write your free ebook, write your first two email campaigns, and automate them by creating your first two funnels. And then we give you one edit. After that one edit, it's up to you to make the edits on your own, which is part of this call, showing you kind of how to do that on the back end.
Well,
It's
that's
not
fine. I'm fine with that. It's even that's even better.
okay.
Good. Because that picture, I don't know why I thought well, I shouldn't have thought anything. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I have,
Okay, no problem. So this call should be about 45 minutes, and we're going to go over three things. So we're going to walk through the front end of your website. Then we're going to walk through the back end, which is where you'll be able to make your changes. And then we'll talk about your business, where you are, where you want to go, and how you're going to use this system to help you get there.
okay. Is that so next time can that be in writing about what you get with the $97 package? Because I've been looking to figure out what happens, but I knew this was coming, that it'll be something else. So this is a something else. Yeah, I never submitted my edit. I started the form.
Type form.
Yeah, I never submitted the form. So I don't know what edit it could have made because I never finished it. But I did start it. But it's
Okay.
okay. Not
Yeah, well, you can just go back to the form and then just complete it. But what I will tell you is you want to write exactly what you wanted to say. So like right now, if you're saying that you don't feel like it reflects your authentic voice, then you basically have to write section by section everything you want to say, which that's not unique to you. That's everybody because you only get that one edit. So if you kind of was descriptive, like, no, I want it to sound more like this, and then they deliver something that still you felt like still needed more editing, then it's on
uh,
you. So
okay.
because you only get the one edit, what you want to do, and I'll show you, hold on,
Okay.
I'll show you how to do that.
I just really want them to change my. Okay. Then if it's one edit, then okay. Then I know I can be more specific with what I really want that to be changed. And I probably have more questions anyways with once you show me what can be done.
So like when you know you've been through the form already, so it asks you page by page, section by section. But let's just
Mhm.
say you don't like this section. What you want to do is you want to say, when they ask you about this section, you want to say, you have copy this and paste it into the form. I want quote, and then you write exactly what you wanted to say. Because if you say something like this or something like that, then you just opening up the door to be disappointed again, and then you're gonna have to change it again on your own.
Okay.
So you
No, I
have to
think my only, yeah.
go
No,
ahead.
that's fine. If I can, but if I can change that myself, I'm okay with that. The only thing great that I actually have are all these fonts. I need them to choose two fonts. Is
Okay.
it, can I say that? Just choose two fonts, or either I
Yeah.
can play with the, that's the case. That's the only,
Yes, you can. All right.
okay.
So you said that was the only thing. Well, let me ask you this one more thing. If I wanted to hire you today, do you have a coaching program built out and ready to sell, or are you still working on it?
Um, so yeah, I have one. This one kind of, this is what y'all put in, right? Y'all
Right.
created this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I did, and this one kind of threw me off because it made me think about what I do, but actually I've broken it up in different ways of how this looks. It's like it combined everything of what I do into one, and I'd rather take people because it's transformation in spaces. They have to go on a journey. You just can't do all that in 12 weeks and say, ha, here I am. So that was the only difference of this. But yes, to answer your question, I think I do have something to where I would want to
Okay, so
release
when
it.
you get to this page, this is the more challenging page to edit. So it'll ask you, do you want to edit your program page? Yes or no. And then the first thing that'll pop up is images. If you want to change any images, you have to find the images that you want to put there. If you tell us, oh, I want it to be a black woman, blah, blah, and then something pops up that you don't like, then that's on you. The best thing to do is go find the image and tell it and give us the image. Now, if the image doesn't meet our like specs, we'll either like resize it or whatever, or we'll just find something as similar as possible. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Mhm.
Then it'll ask you about this section. Then it'll ask you about this section as a whole. It's not going to go through module by module. So you got 12 modules. Let's say you want to change 9 of them. You would highlight, you would say, like in module one, you would say you have this, highlight what you're changing, and then say, I want this quote, and then put it in the quotes. And then you do that for each one of these modules. But it's not what makes it hard is that you can't, if you hit enter, it's going to go to the next section. So you can't hit enter. You have to just like put a period, and then you say, all right, in module two, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Okay, when I'm putting it in a form. So
Yeah,
when
when
I'm
you
putting
put
it
it
in
in
a
the
form,
form.
so is that one change? Is that what you're saying? Like this page would be, the program page would
No,
be.
I'm saying you have to put all your changes
Uh-huh.
one time in the form.
Got you. I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah. So we don't go back to the form like 5 times. You have to
Got you.
put it all, in the form. So okay, so let's go to the back end. Unless you have any questions about the front end.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, so this back end is hosted through a site called it's a CRM system through Go High Level. Have you worked with CRMs before?
Yes. And go high
Okay.
level.
Okay. So this by no means is a tutorial of Go High Level. This is just the purpose of this call is to deliver you bought a $97 service, we're delivering it to you. So the purpose of this call is so that we know that you got delivered what you purchased and you know what you're kind of getting into. So what I always tell people is this is basically where our job ends and where your work begins when it comes to building your business. So the first thing you want to do is to get familiar with Go High Level, is to come to this need help button, this blue question mark button, and join the Facebook group. I highly recommend that. And then go through the welcome course at your own pace, however many times you need to go through it, because it shows you how to set up everything. Now, we try to make it easy by setting up this panel on the side, but the easiest thing you can do first is just connecting your social medias. Now, Go High Level, if you go to Go High Level by themselves, and there's a lot of resellers that Go High Level and they charge what they want. We would be
Mhm.
considered a reseller, but we don't sell the Go High Level service. We just give it to our people who buy the $97. But if you went to Go High Level, um, this would cost $129 a month without any type of design on the front end. So you would just get the CRM for 129 a month. So every month that you use this site, you're saving $129. So,
Okay.
um, this is this exponential value on what you're paying. It cost us about $600 to set this up. Now, I always emphasize that because your job, your work really begins in learning all of this. So everything that you see, you don't have to pay any extra fees. You're able to use. You just have to learn how to set it up and if you need it. Now, once you've connected your social medias, if anybody sends you a direct message to your accounts that are connected, it'll show up here in the inbox, as well as if someone replies to your email campaigns. And we've already set up your first two campaigns for you. That's why you have these tags. So your people will automatically be tagged, um, and that'll put them in the funnel based on the tag. So these are the automations and workflows that we've already set up for you. Now we publish a lot, but we've only really set up two of them because those are only two things that your site does right now, which is the free download and the appointment booking.
Okay.
And we set this up identical to our appointment booking. So just like how you got notified for this call, your clients will be notified the same way, 2 days before, a day before, an hour before, and 10 minutes before. And that really reduces ghosting and people say, oh, I forgot, can we reschedule, wasting a bunch of time.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Website. So this is where you have to come to make changes to your site. This is your website here, and you have a 9-page site. You'll just click on your name, and then you can make any changes you need to your site on your own. You just click edit and go in and start making your edits. You can add pages, remove pages, anything you need to do. All of this stuff you're able to add as well. Stores, webinars, blogs, forums, surveys, quizzes. It's just a learning curve on figuring out how to implement all that. And
Okay.
then your calendar, obviously the main thing people are doing is booking a call, because the point is for people to book a call with you, and ideally they get on the phone with you and and you get a new client. So that's the goal. So the first thing you want to do is come into calendar settings and update your availability so people can only book a call when you're available. Or you can connect another calendar that you already use that has your availability. And I would
Okay.
say the last important page is payments. So before you ever get on the phone, because like I said, the goal of the call is for you to leave that call with a new client. So you want to go ahead and set up your payment gateway before, because you're going to collect their payment information. If they're going to tell you about their problems, you're going to tell them about your solution. You're going to ask them if they want to work with you to help you get them, on their transformational journey. And then you guys will negotiate whether or not they're going to pay in full or pay on a payment plan. At that point, you'll come to this page, and then you'll just say, okay, so you're going to pay Visa, credit card or debit, and then you'll just put in their info into whichever one of these portals you use, which will be right here, and then they'll get auto sent a receipt.
Okay.
And just as a pro tip, if they show you some hesitation towards that, unless they're driving and they're like, I can't look at my phone right now, I can't look at my wallet right now, my card right now because I'm driving. In that case, you can send them a payment link. But if they give you any resistance around that, then they probably don't trust you, which means they're just going to ghost you. They're not really going to sign up for your program.
Okay.
All right. So, any questions about your back end before we talk about your business?
No, it's just
Okay.
learning the automation, like just learning that. But I'll be able to add other stuff to it, right? The calendar. You said I can add my calendar to it.
Yeah, you can connect your calendar, and then let's say you already have your stuff set up on Google Calendar, then it would just sync with that one,
Okay.
with the one that's on your website. Okay, so give me a moment. I'm pulling up is it DeAndrea or DeAndrea?
DeAndrea.
DeAndrea, okay. All right, DeAndrea. So I read your client acquisition system, but I always like to hear directly from the coach's mouth. So tell me a little more about this coaching business.
So, what, the way you have it written, or
No,
what I want it to be?
yeah, about your coaching business.
Okay. So ultimately, I I started out speaking to high achieving women, and I knew I wanted to kind of move into spaces where I had more men coming in, so I wanted to change the language of that. In some of that, it has women, and it should be just speaking to high achievers, leaders, and change agents. I really wanted to work in the spaces where people are showing up, they're doing the work, but you get to a space where you've done the work and you get to a point where that you figure out if is this all there is, or you've been in a space where you've been burnt out. So speaking from my perspective of being in leadership, there's a lot of times you show up and you don't get the respect, or you don't feel like you have the voice, or you don't feel like you're being respected at the level in which you're playing. So most of the times, so then we overplay. So my perspective of coming in is just to speak from the blind spots, having people identify how they're showing up, how burnout is playing in their lives, and looking at the blind spots that are showing up, whether the overachiever, the people pleaser, or the strong friend. I'm giving you just small pieces of that, and then helping them to rebuild. So the whole thing is to identify where you are, reclaim your voice, repurpose where you are, and then rebuild whatever that is in your next. Because most of the people coming to me are in transition. They want something more.
Okay, so you said identify where you are, reclaim your voice. There was two other things you said. What else?
Um, so they're so basically resetting their identity, reclaiming their voice, and then rebuilding their legacy, their businesses, their families after
And
that.
you said that you started off talking to women, but now you just want to talk to people in leadership in general. So describe your ideal client.
Okay. So my ideal client is still between the ages of 35 and 56. They have shown up and they've done the hard work. They have the titles, they have the degrees, they have the certifications, and they're at a space right now where they're looking at what's next. They're navigating, life, toxic systems, or unspoken trauma in those spaces. So all I do is that's my ideal client, right? And so now they're in a space where they're in either career transition, identity, um, in identity conflict of who they are versus what they do. So performance, I guess I should say that. So they're in conflict with their performance and their purpose. I think
Okay.
I like that.
And basically you said that you do have a coaching program kind of carved out, but it sounds like it might be just a couple pieces missing maybe.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And do,
Um, yeah.
and do you plan on coaching them one-on-one or in groups?
Um, So my executives that I had, I was doing one-on-one. So it's like taking this model and kind of blending it from what I'm hearing on their personal side that have become blind spots for their professional side, if that makes sense. So there was one-on-one. I would love to do group coaching, right? Like I think to get more in there, I think just at some point when people feel like they're in a position they're not vulnerable enough to share where they are. But that's why I
Okay.
wanted to, as it's the mid-size. The people who are in transition will be will more opt in into group versus
Okay.
those who CEOs and C-suites who are trying to really change where they are.
Okay. And you said the executives that you had, what do you mean? You already were coaching some people?
Yeah, so I already coach. I coach superintendents, I coach CEOs, I do executive coaching in the spaces.
Okay.
I'm coming from the educational my background is in education. So everything I've done is education. I want to move away from education and move into what are the traits of the leaderships and the people that I continue to encounter, and what are their setbacks and what's keeping them from doing what they're doing to be better in the spaces that they're occupying.
Okay. And since you already have clients that you've coached in the education space, I mean, help me understand why, why you want to get away from education.
Um, uh, so money probably one of them, right? Even you stay in this space for so long, and then you understand that the value of what you offer and how I can ticket my offers based off the money that I'm getting. Again, in order to do that, I literally would have to spend my time for the people who have the money and the budget would actually be at the top, which means I'm always talking to those people in that space. I realized that talking to those people in the space does not help me build the capacity of the other people who want to be in that space. That's the difference maker. So either I would have to create another program that talks to the people who want to be in this space, because only talking to them is where you cap out. So it's just the way the education market is kind of set up. It's this hierarchy, unless I'm moving into private and charter. So like I said, I've been in public, and so public schools work a little bit differently in how the hierarchies are set up and who gets the who gets coached and who gets developed. Other than that, they would be paying out of pocket. So
Okay.
I wanted to reach more because I do keynotes. So that's what I'm saying. I actually work in multiple spaces. So I work with entrepreneurs. So I work in because I do keynotes, and what I speak about in my keynotes, I attract more people than just the education spaces. I started my company in education space. I just feel like I'm limited there. And most people say that's your niche, you stay in it. I'm not there anymore. I'm in my legacy years. So I'm
Okay. So it
mm-mm.
sounds like you're just burnt out with working with people in education because they don't have the budget to pay you like you want to be paid.
Their budget, mindset, just where people would just because you're fighting a system that's already been created on top of them, right? They take there's compliance and a whole lot of things that happens inside the space that they say they want them to get better, but they can't because they're fighting against a system that they have to respond to. This is just it's a negative space. I don't mind staying in it. That's what I'm saying. I still have them, but to message that has to be a specific message, and I had to ask myself, am I willing to sit in that message long enough to get back to that space? I want to shift right now so that I can talk to more people to find my way back to that space, or either they will find me again. Like I said, I've done a lot of work. People know my work in the space. I'm burnt out because I'm finding myself becoming more of an employee in the space of people in my coaching now, and it's
Okay.
tiring because I know what I'm fighting against. I'm fighting against a system. I was an elected official too, so I know what they're fighting against, and it's a hard pull in trying to pull them out so that they can see something more of where they
Okay.
are.
Okay. So with this transition that you're in, what do you want to charge for this coaching program?
Um, so for my high ticket offer, 5,000, anywhere from three to five, if it was in group, right? If I'm doing group coaching.
So 3 to 5 thousand for group coaching. Do you have a price for one-on-one?
So my one-on-one was anywhere that I do now is it's on a contractual basis. So if I broke it up by month, three times. So it's about $30,000 for the year. And then if they
Okay,
get
and then they get 1 year with you.
right. Yes. Get out. So yes.
Okay. And then how, because you transitioning, right? So, I guess you've already figured out what it takes to get coaching clients as an executive coach in the education industry. But now branching out is more of a retail offer because you're not in one industry. How are you going to, excuse me, how are you going to attract clients?
Well, so that's what I said. I probably just need to remove my men and just continue to talk to my women if I'm shifting, because that's just really where it is. I'm want to talk to. I'm talking to me, right? I am my ideal client in who I'm speaking to at this level. So the titles, receipts, the degrees, burned out from being the strong one, done shrinking in spaces. And so I'm looking for the C-suite executive, the founder, entrepreneur, the nonprofit leader, the woman of color, the mid-career, person that's in transition. And so that's where I am. So again, I'm speaking to their pain points. It's whether you've been unseen, if you're in deep identity crisis, if you're in purpose fatigue, performance fatigue, however we frame that, just people who are looking to reclaim their voice because we've walked into these spaces where we've been silenced and we're trying to move into a different space. So that's what I said. So even in my own messaging, I know that I'd rather limit myself in my messaging and what I do versus going into a system where I feel like I'm still fighting against something. So that means I'm niching down and I'm being so specific that I know that the women that I'm targeting will hear this message. And so that means it may take me a little bit longer, or either I just need to be very specific in how I'm crafting that message. But that's who I want to work with. I want to work
No,
with those.
I get that. I'm just figuring out, what I'm trying to ask you is how are these women going to find you? Or
Oh, I guess
men and women?
I do my keynotes. I have a conference that I put on. I'm going to go. I need to just be visible again on social media like I was. So the things that I was doing before, I went mute. I went silent so that I could hear what I need to do next. So marketing. So when you're asking
Okay.
me how this is the right or wrong answer, the answer is that I need to be visible. I need to start networking. I need to do my coffee chats again. I need to reach out to other people and let them know that this is what I'm doing now to make sure that my ideal avatar is actually hitting, that is landing with the people. And I
Okay.
need to start getting back into my network zones with my new messaging.
Okay. So do you feel like because this offer isn't limited to people in your local area, right?
Right. This
So
is
do you
any
feel like matter of fact, this is a better question. How much do you want to make from this business? Because obviously what I'm hearing is not only have you had to shrink yourself because you're dealing with the educational system is very limited, so people aren't going to have no real breakthroughs, but also there's a money issue. People don't really want to pay. So that's part of what's motivating you to want to get and talk to different type of executives that aren't in the education field. So what do you want to make from this business, this shift in the first year, I would say?
Oh yeah, in the first year. My number I put on the board, I put 150 on the board actually. That's
Okay.
just in the coaching space, right? Whether I did that with coaching, and so I was trying to shift of coaching the C-suite itself, right? Like that was my whole thing of going into the coaching and the executive. So what I was doing before was only coaching that one. One thing I want to change is, hey, I'm coming into you, but I really need to talk to the people who report to you, because that's the only way real change can happen if they know that you're growing, and then we're looking at where their growth is and offering those services in there as well. So that became a different package in that space. So I've been kind of playing with that of saying, if I do that and I do that well in a nonprofit space, I mean, that's anywhere from 30 to $80,000 easily in coaching them for a year and giving them the training that they need, and then the coaching and the three services. So it was like packaging that. If I had to just do a program now for what we just created online with what you're doing, and I'm saying, here's my 12-week program. From that, I want to at least have 8 to 10 women. So if you're saying, so 10 is what, $30,000 a month? So even in that, that's why I lowballed it as 150 of saying, here's my new one, just because it's 12 weeks, it takes 3 months. I would only do probably one cycle of that to see what feedback I got. So that first one would have been 30 to $50,000 from now.
Okay. And you're still coaching. You're an executive coach. That's what you do for a living.
Yes.
And how much do you typically make from that?
Um, about after taxes, I'll say after taxes 160.
Okay. And your goal is only 150. So help me understand so you're making more than what you want to make in your first year. So I'm assuming you want to grow, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, so Yeah, I'm a little confused about your whole offer. Like I know what you're doing. Well, I don't exactly know what you're doing. So you coach, who do you coach exactly right now?
I coach,
Principals or something?
I coach superintendents, school boards.
And are they having to pay out of pocket or is it like the
It's the budget of the school.
county or something?
It's the budget of the school district. The
Okay.
budget.
And so what I see in that system is that there's more of a built-in pathway to clientele because you know who you're dealing with. You said you was an elected official before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're just broadcasting to the world, and you mentioned something about keynotes and conferences. So tell me about keynotes. What's been your experience with them before? Do you know how to get booked for keynotes that are outside of that industry, the educational industry?
Yeah, because I don't talk about the education, I talk about the story. And so that's what I go in. I speak about the pain points. And so my keynotes are culture and um again, the culture, the identity, and who you are and how you show up for the work, your work performance, and what the purpose and missions are. So serving from your overflow. So I speak on identity, I speak on purpose fatigue, I speak on burnout. And so those are my keynotes that I speak in, which are
Yeah,
that's
but
what I
how do people find you to
oh,
get you for a
oh,
keynote?
so I send proposals, I submit the proposals online. Other word of mouth for people who know and they reach out, but a lot of it's just sending out my videos, my TED talk. They see my TED talk, they book from there. So again, I said a lot of it, that's what I said, a lot of it was framed under this educational perspective. Yes, I've been branded as in education. That's great. I don't want to stay there. So that's where we are. I don't want to stay there. That's an easy fix. I could stay and live the rest of my life and retire in what I'm doing now in education. I make probably a $250,000 in the education industry. That's going to run itself because I have a training. My company does training as well. So that's still there. My company is there. I'm branding DeAndrea. So that's separate. So that's why I said I'm separating the fold of what my training does in education because that will forever be there. I train elected officials when they get elected. I help them get elected. All those things are still there. Those things are true. This side is what did I do as a transformational coach? And I want to make sure that people understand you can't keep showing up for these titles and doing this superficial work. I don't want to be in that space anymore. I don't want to be seen as the superficial that surface person. So that's why I said right now it's just a rebrand. I think I know what I want to do. Once I put it together, I'll be able to do that. My whole thing is the only, let me speak from this perspective. What I need from going forward is the messaging that goes out. I've watched a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff is cookie cutter, and I know people made money. I made my own money. I want in this next segment of my life. I know what works. I've learned the marketing and everything else. I need a system behind me who understands me. I need people who are going to push my message in the way that I need it to sound to the people that I need to sound to. I'm not trying to work with a lot of people. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to build with y'all right now, or whatever I was trying to do right here, is something so separate from what I do over here. I'm not trying to abandon it. I'm just not trying to be the coach in that space and brand it in that space as what this work
Yeah,
is.
I understand. So I talk to maybe 5 coaches a day. And what I'm always trying to find out is what is your plan going forward? I mean, all I can do, I don't work for you. I don't work with you. So what the purpose of this call, aside from delivering you your website, is to make sure you're clear on next steps. So my question to you and to everybody I speak to is okay, so now you know what you want to do, right? You know you want to transition, you don't want to be in that same space anymore. So what are you going to do to make that happen?
I need to finish building out my program. So that's
Okay.
that's my next step. Yeah, you're right. That's my next step. Build out my program.
Okay. All right, yeah, so that's all you got to do. You have the link to your review, not your review, your edit form. So for us, all you really need to do is complete your edit form and then figure out how to, put a business in place that that will allow you to become an authority in the space.
Yeah, it's gonna work out.
Okay.
It's gonna work out. I'm gonna have to start
And
using these influencers. I need to become an influencer myself and the influencer
I
company.
mean, we have a program where we help people, but it's I just can't see where we can help you. So like what we do is we put ourselves in a position so we don't have the same burnout problem you have, because in the beginning this company is like 10 years old, and in the
Mm-hmm.
first 5 years anybody could come to us with $20,000 and we would build out their back end. We would be their support system, right? Do their
Mm-hmm.
lead generation, do all that stuff for us. But then we started running into these people who would hire us but then wouldn't respect our expertise. So now they don't know how to build their business. We do, but because they paid us, they think they can tell us what is going to work based off their feelings or something they watched on YouTube or whatever. So now we don't do that no more. What we do is we have a selective process based on these calls, whether or not we're going to invite somebody to work with them or not. And I just haven't identified anything in this call that makes me feel like, okay, well, we can work together. So at this point, all I can tell you is, just work on your edits and then figure out how you're going to market yourself. Now, you were talking about being an influencer. Um, okay, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
If you know you need a team, because that's what you said earlier. You see, you need people who can push you, who can take your creative direction and they can implement it. So you can just basically be uh, a coach. You can be the front, which is how Sai has his business set up. Sai has it set up to where he does the branding and he doesn't even do the coaching. And then we, his 30 some employees, we do everything else.
Oh, okay.
So is that the kind of business you want to build, or do you have a different vision for your business?
That's it. Like I want to be the person in front, like the spokesperson. That's what I said. We had time just kind of getting into that. I think that's what I said from all my back end stuff. I don't want to be the one that's physically doing all the stuff anymore. It was like,
Okay.
here's my vision. Can I execute this? Can I be able to do my keynotes? Can I speak on this and then bring people into the space that here's where they are getting the results that they need? If that makes
Okay.
sense, you know what I'm saying? You're building it. You can't. Education sounds like that. It's not what's happening.
No,
You're
I
teaching
understand. My
kids.
mother, my mother's an educator, and she tells me this. I talked to her once. So I retired from working in the States in 2017. I moved to Puerto Rico. So I talk to
Okay.
my parents every Sunday, and it's the end of the school year, and my mother, she's been trying to get away from education, and because she's always been an entrepreneur, so she hasn't been. She's 61, I think, and she's only been in education 9 years. So basically, she ain't never gonna be able to retire, and she wasn't used to that type of structure. And like she said, like what you saying is like it's a system that is designed to just push programs. It's not about nothing heart to heart. So anyway, my point is I don't have that much time. I only got 4 minutes left, but so we have a program, and I'm not the one who decides whether or not they will invite you to work with us. But I will tell you this. So if you do want to figure out how we can help you be your back end, where you could be like Cy, we would have to book a call with one of our business coaches. But just so you know, two things. For one, we're looking for what problem we can solve. And the only problem you've told me is that you're fed up with education. We can't really solve that problem. So, if you decide to book a call with our business coach, you're going to have to be clear on the business problems that you have, and then we'll let you know if we solve for those problems or not. It's very simple. Now, if we do, and we invite you to work with us, because hundreds of people buy these $97 websites from us. We only work with 20 people a month. So 85% of the people, I would say every week about 120 people, anywhere from 100, depending on how much is going on in our marketing, 150 to 200 some people are buying these $97 websites.
Okay.
85% of those people, so over 100 people every week, want to work with us so they can do exactly what you're talking about. They can just They can be the brand, they can be the creative direction, they can be the boss, and then we can be their back end. So we already do that for hundreds. We're the back end support team for hundreds of coaches globally. Only a couple of them are famous, but all of them are making at least $10,000 a month. And
Okay.
we don't want to invite people in our system who are going to break our system. That was the problem we had before. People were coming in, for lack of a better word, like divas, and they want this and that. And it's like, bro, we would rather
Yeah.
fire that person as a client than conform to all of their one-off stuff, because we have a system that's working. We got people who's making 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. We alone make anywhere from 250 to $350,000 every month. So we're not trying to conform and cater to everybody's needs. We're looking for people who we know you need these specific things, and we can plug you in our system and make you successful in those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So before we decide if you're gonna book a call, if you are invited on that call with our business coach to work with us, the price to work with us is a 3 month program. It's about $15,000.
Okay. A month for the
No,
3 months.
for the
Oh,
three
three.
months.
Okay. Okay.
So do you want to speak with one of our business coaches?
Yeah.
All right. Let
Okay.
me see. Um, Give me a second. I'm pulling. I'm going because of this conversation. I'm going to book you with our co-CEO Phil. So he's only taking calls tomorrow and next week. He usually doesn't take calls, but right now he's working on like figuring out how we can cater to our clients more since the economy has changed. So he's taking calls to kind of figure out, okay, are there different services that we need to offer? So he's rolling up his sleeves. But Sai never has to do any of this stuff. Sai's in
Okay.
Dubai or UK chilling.
Go ahead, side, but I don't want to be the one chilling. I just want to make sure people are getting what they need. That's ultimate the ultimate goal, right?
For sure. And that's what, like I said, that's why we're really straightforward. Like, we're not trying to like sell you or nothing. Like my whole point is like, yeah, we turn away more people than we work with. And that's because we know our avatar. And just like you tired of working with these superintendents. Like that. We've hit that point with a lot of different industries where we like keep your money. You know what I'm saying? We know that. We know how that feels. So that's all we look for a mentality. We look for people who are honest about their problems, who we feel like are coachable, who's not going to fight us when we tell us, okay, this is what you need based on. So this year we're going to cross our 1,000th coach. So we
Okay.
work with thousands of coaches, but we've handheld through this same program 900 something coaches, getting them from zero clients in there, because a lot of them are executives that have high paid. So a lot of them are these clients that you're talking about, and they hate that, and they wanted to build a coaching business based on their expertise in their industry. So we've taken them from having no coaching business to having a coaching business that's either allowed them to get out of their executive position or become a consultant in their executive position. But my point is, we've walked 900 some coaches, held their hand from zero to $10,000 a month, and we just are constantly vetting who is going to be our next coaches. And this year we're going to cross 1,000. So what time zone are you in?
I'm in Pacific.
Okay. Okay. All right. So he has time either tomorrow or early next week from Monday to Wednesday.
Um, Monday. I'm what time on Monday?
He only has two time slots. They're both in your time zone, 8:15 or 9:30 a.m.
9:30 works.
Okay. And it'll just be the same amount of time as this call, 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to send you the calendar invite right now. Give me a minute to do that. And then I'm going to send you a video from side. It's a 15-minute video.
Okay.
And I just want you to watch that and write down any questions, anything that comes up. There's no dumb question, because you're trying to see if we are a match. So he's trying to see if we're a match. You're trying to see if we're a match.
Okay.
So he's going to have questions for you. So it's best that you have questions for him as well.
Okay.
That way you're not left in the dark as far as like, oh man, I forgot to ask him this.
And so just like in my business model, when I'm talking to him, it's like, what problems do I solve now in the space that I want to move into, right?
Just be honest with him about where you are. If you feel like, yo, I'm stuck in this industry and I want to get out and this is where I want to go, just tell him that. It's like we're not expecting you to come with a plan. And I think
Okay.
that's the problem. A lot of people come acting as if when you come like with a know-it-all type of attitude, it's like he not going to invite you because those are the people who we had
Yeah.
a fire as clients.
Yeah. No, I know the space I want to move into. That's why I was like, I know who I want to talk to. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how to transition out of that because I've been known as this for so long. I'm like, but that's not what I want to do. It's
If you come with that level of honesty, he's going to lay out the pathway to getting there.
okay.
That's why we can charge $15,000, $20,000 because it's like we not if you had the pathway, why would you pay us that much money to do it for you? It
Right.
wouldn't make no sense.
Right. Which is probably why I was talking around. You kept asking me questions like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not clear then. It's like,
Right. That was the answer I was looking for, but you
I'm
wasn't
not
saying it.
clear.
That's why I'm like, well, I don't know where we can help you then
Right. But
because you ain't
I
telling me
had to say it
nothing.
out loud. I had to keep hearing myself talking. I was like, no, the more I keep saying it, I was like, I don't know. I think I need the clarity. I think that's what it is. I don't
And
know.
that's not there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a new space. And I would tell you, most of our clients are those clients that you're trying to reach. Most of the people we work with, that's why a lot of times I kind of like turn away people like you because I'm like, I know who our sweet spot is. Our sweet spot is the executive that's making 150,000 plus salary plus bonuses at the end of the year, and they hate their job, and that's all they know. All they know is I don't know what it needs to be. I don't know what it takes to be a coach, but I've done this, I've done that, and I've done that, and I know that this is marketable to people within this space. Can you help me with that? And
Mm,
it's like, all right, cool, we can work from that space. But if you come from a space of like, you know, so anyway, that's all he's looking for. And Phil is best at identifying, if we can help because he's the guy who runs this entire company. He's young,
okay.
but he's very, very sharp. He's very astute, and he knows as much as anybody in the coaching space about how to target um, your avatar. You know what I'm saying? Like we already are targeting the people you want to target, those executives. So that's why I say any questions that you have for him, because he might not invite you, or you might say, let me think about it. But ask him, look at it like a free business consultation. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And he's
But I
black,
want
he's
to talk about
African.
mindset space though. Like I get it because they're want to do businesses. I want to do mindset. Like, where do you go and you find relief? Where do I just go and put my sword down? Like I put my cape down. I don't want to be tough today. I don't want to be strong today. Like that's where I want to work into that space. Like bringing them back up and making sure they recognize here are your strengths, here are the things you've done so well. Now go build your team, go build your coaching. You got it, right? It's that piece behind it. That's where I want to support because that's where I get, I feel like I'm weak all the time trying to find someone who understands what I'm going through or finding the people that are trying to, move this in the spaces I'm moving in.
Okay, so
So
hold on. Articulate that very succinctly for me, because I'm gonna write that down for Phil. You're looking for coaches who what? Who are burnt? Are you looking for executives who?
they are burnt out. They are at a space right now that they are
Tell me about you. The way you just said that before was perfect. You were like, "That's where I am. I'm burnt out and something," and then I
oh,
stopped you
burnt out.
because
I just want to put, I want to take off my cape. I want to put my sword down. I don't want to fight today. I just want to find a sanctuary that I can go and just rest, right? I want to reset
okay.
and be able to be around like-minded individuals that are supporting my next growth, that next version of me. So if I am in career transition, then here's a space where I get back and I get to just sometimes celebrate myself because I'm not celebrating myself in the things I've done. I'm always in performance. I'm always doing these things because that's what we've been taught to do the next, but not taking time for self. And so what does the soul care look like in order for me to do my next best work and create
Okay.
the legacy?
Okay, yeah. If you come with that level of transparency, I think Phil will. Did I tell you how much it costs if you're invited?
Would you say 15?
15,000. So I think if you come with that level, because I know that we can help you, but we're looking for that same thing. We're looking for transparency. We're looking for honesty, and this call is not that unique. Like most of the people are saying the same thing, so we know how to build those coaching business. Basically, like this: there's all kind of business models you can get into as a transition. If you want to get into coaching, that's because you feel a tug on your consciousness. You feel like you're not living in your purpose, which is what I hear every single call. Everybody says, I'm an executive, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. I don't feel like this was what I was put on the planet to do, but I'm stuck because I'm making too much money to leave.
Right.
Can I hire y'all to build out this thing that I can step into and be my authentic self? And that's the people we look for. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. That's it. That's yeah. I got goosebumps when you said that because that's what it is. It's like that, and then how do you just kind of support people who are making that transition, right? Just in that because they have the back end, and so what is the front end? What does the mind say? What is happening inside internally, and how am I using my voice? Because ultimately, I just want to teach you like having them do their own keynotes and speaking from that, like creating their messaging around that. Things that I know in my skill, but I probably just have to sit with somebody long enough to say, here are all the things I've done. How do I create
And
this?
that's what our program is for. That's why we super selective, because what we do is we assign a coach for our clients to get you to talk through those things, to make
Okay.
sure your messaging is tight. Like if you work with us, we'll redo your site as many times as you need it. Like what, I don't know if I told you this. Our business model, the only reason we do this is because Sai still has a heart for his 10 years prior self that was trying to break into coaching and
Mhm.
was hitting all these roadblocks. So he creates this portal for new coaches to be able to get support. So what we do is our real business model though is we're the back end team for hundreds of coaches worldwide. We create new funnels. We do all this stuff. We have a team that's excellent. We have a world class team. We know how to do everything that you've seen us do.
Uh-huh.
We do for our clients. Like what I'm saying is make websites, have funnels, have webinars, all of that stuff. There's nothing. If you've seen us do it, then you know we can do it. It's
Right.
just a lot of people come to us, they don't really believe that this can be done for them. So
Yeah.
we deal with mindset. Coaching is always about mindset. There's no type of coaching that doesn't get into mindset. So anyway, all I want you to do before we get off this call is confirm that you got that email invite from Phil.
Yes, it just came through.
And then the other one that says 5-step framework. That's the video I need you to watch.
Yes, that came through as
Okay,
well.
and just watch that before you talk to Phil on I think it's Monday.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
DeAndrea. Nice to meet you and good
Okay.
luck.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.